Welcome back to Arcane Answers. My name is Hare. I'm your host, and joined with me are the eerily amazing Amanda and Sarah. Eerie's the spooky part for the season. How are you ladies doing? Ooh, got a ghost.
Listen, we sounded like Victorian children earlier, so Ghost is right on track.
The whole sound system was haunted. It was terrible.
It was taunted and terrible. You're not wrong. But you're probably wondering what episode we're doing today with a name like the corpse trade, I think is what we called it. And that is
Black
because...
market body brokering.
And I'm going to take you guys... Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know the song wasn't done.
You're fine. Just keep going.
All right. I am going to bring you back to the 19th century where we saw a massive surge in medical education, creating catastrophic cadaver deficit across Europe and America since legal sources, executed criminals, were insufficient and poorly refrigerated. The demand of fresh bodies where a profitable black market emerged, initially run by resurrectionists or grave robbers. The difficulty and time involved in robbing graves and creating a simple economic incentive to bypass the graveyard entirely with murder. That's right.
No! Bum, bum, bum.
You're right to be frightened because we have the calculated homicides of Burke and Hare. Back in
Tell us more.
In 1827 to 1829, we had the corpse trade reaching its horrific apex in Edinburgh, Scotland, where the competitive anatomy teachers, notably Doctor Robert Knox, paid high prices for subjects. And our friends, the Irish laborers William Burke and William Hare, stumbled into this market. They sold the body of a lodger who died and owed them money, right? That seems pretty fair.
Yeah, sell somebody's stuff to get your money back? Yeah.
Stuff? They sold him.
Well, he was dead.
Yeah, that's true.
He wasn't using that body anymore.
No, his meat suit was up for sale now.
Yeah, and it was £8 per body. That's $8 British.
So what is the conversion rate to modern money?
That is a really good question. 1827. Let's look that up.
You said 1827?
Yep.
We're asking the important questions. Oh, it's like
1,080.
1,080 pounds. Pretty good, honestly.
Yeah, it was worth $39.52 in America at that time.
I was just going to do.
If you want to hear something upsetting, the body conversion is pretty much the same in modern era.
Oh,
A little.
They're paying that much for a body nowadays?
Like a head for that.
Just a head for like $1,000?
Between 500 and 1,000 was the going rate.
Jeez, those are easy to transport too.
Correct.
Huh.
Harry, how do you know that?
Oh, like a bowling ball.
Yeah, I mean, you can get a little igloo cooler and fit a head in there. Just science.
Fair point. Fair point.
Sarah looks like she's actually contemplating it right now.
No.
All right, back to the show. So they transitioned from selling dead bodies to manufacturing them. Over approximately 10 months, Burke and Hare systematically murdered at least 16 marginalized individuals. Their signature method, known as burking. It's involving smothering the victim. The technique left virtually no external marks of violence. So this is the critical detail that ensured the bodies were highly desirable by the dissection and less likely to arouse suspicion by the purchaser, like Dr. Knox. Now, the burking process, as I understand it, and I don't know, should I say this on air?
Probably.
Okay, we're going to do it. So when a person exhales and then you put pressure on their chest, they can't inhale, and you suffocate them that way.
Does it just like collapse their lungs?
Yeah, essentially you cannot breathe once the weight is pressed on your chest. So
How long does that take?
You'd have to ask Burke and Hare.
Because not regular, but what we think of as suffocating someone can take up to like 15 minutes.
Oh,
Strangling,
Yeah,
that's what it is. Strangling.
strangling. Yeah, that's wholly different though.
You're right.
That probably has a lot to do with hand strength too. Like,
It does not. That's fair. I listen to a lot of true crime.
I know you did.
BTK also thought it was hand strength. He was wrong. Sorry, continue.
No problem. I just actually Googled to how long does it take to burk somebody? And
Art could be on so many
I'm on so many lists after research on this one.
and they keep trying to say bulk. And so it's like, no, you don't mean what you're saying. You want to know how long
No.
it takes to bulk up, right? Like, no, not
Absolutely
at
not.
all. I wanted to learn about suffocating people.
About murder.
Only scholastic purposes.
That's right. Anyway, the discovery of their crimes generated unparalleled public revulsion. I wonder why. Forcing a systematic reckoning. And although Hare secured freedom by turning King's evidence, Burke was hanged in 1829. An intense...
Was he then sold for medical purposes?
Yeah.
Because that's full circle.
By Hare. So Knox was ruined professionally, and the outcry actually was the catalyst for the British Anatomy Act of 1832, which legalized the supply of bodies and effectively ended the resurrectionist trade. But I'm not done yet. You would think that there is no more to tell about this.
There's always more to tell.
There's just a little bit more to tell. And that's because in America we had one. And everybody's favorite serial killer, one of the first noted ones, you know who I'm talking about, H.H. Holmes.
The man, the legend.
That's right. The myth, the man, the legend, Herman Webster Mudgett, better known as H.H. Holmes. That's right. After the
Him and
loss...
his murder castle.
And his murder castle. That, we're getting there.
Okay, sorry.
We're getting to the murder castle.
She got too excited about murder castles.
After the law ended the market of fresh cadavers, the demand shifted towards durable, cleaned anatomical specimens like skeletons for personal student study. And in the United States, the environment fostered a different criminal. Again, Herman Webster Mudgett, who operated as H.H. Holmes, a medical student who graduated in 1884 and was involved in body snatching while at the University of Michigan Medical School. Linking his early activities, Holmes evolved his criminal method, embodying the dark confluence of anatomical crisis and personal greed and insurance fraud. That's right, the worst of them all.
Not the insurance fraud.
Yeah, he would steal cadavers from medical labs, disfigure or burn them, and then plant the bodies to resemble an accidental death of the victim's life insurance, which he then would get a share of, or cut them out completely, if you know what I mean.
Devil.
Yeah. So his enterprise culminated in his murder castle, which we'd mentioned, in Chicago. And contemporary accounts reported that Holmes sometimes stripped the flesh from his victims' bones using a skeleton articulator to professionally prepare the remains and then sold the resulting clean skeletons directly to the medical institution for profit. This shift from selling raw, fresh bodies like Burke and Hare to selling finished, preserved skeletal products is a horrifying peak in the commercialization of human remains.
Yeah, that is industrious there.
Yeah.
Not what you want to see in a serial killer.
No, you don't. You want them to be like little weirdos who are shoving them in the crawl spaces, not be like, fresh bones for sale. Why, I say, chap, you look like you could use a new set of bones. And if you Google H.H. Holmes, I think he talks like that.
I believe you.
I feel like everyone talked like that back then. When
Absolutely.
That's right, a 23 skidoo. But anyway, take it away.
So the modern era of body brokering, which is still going on today, is stopped now by the donations from people who wish to advance medical research or don't have family, or their families are too poor to afford a funeral. So modern day body brokering should, in theory, involve consent. The Uniform Anatomical Gift Act of 1968 was the first time the U.S. agreed on a piece of legislature about body donation and body like brokering, right? So it took us till the late 60s to be like, we should have rules around selling corpses. So, and part of that was because the first heart transplant, like successful heart transplant, took place in 1967, and they realized like, oh, this could actually save like hundreds of thousands of people's lives, at least, a few tens of thousands every year. And so they needed to create this like legal scaffold for this industry to exist.
You just glossed over tens of thousands per year. That's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, currently in the United States modern era, and of course this wasn't happening in the 60s, it was just like kind of a fledgling industry. Well, medicine rather. But there are upwards of 45,000 organ donor recipients every year in the United States, modern time. Like, that's a mind-boggling amount of people getting
see.
rewarded.
Not just corpses being sold in total, like the whole body. Like, this is parting them out. That's how we're...
Right. So the modern era, like, a lot of it took place, the legalization, the way that the laws are set, were focused around organ donation once it became a reality. So they had huge loopholes is kind of the problem. They're like, okay, well, let's get some consent. Let's kind of get this donor registry, which took place in 1984. They created the National Organ Transplant Act, right? So the medical schools needed to get it. The researchers needed to get bodies. Fine. They made it illegal to sell organs for profit. Great. But again, massive loopholes and horrendous lack of oversight. So, as with all things where money can be made, body brokers just kind of took advantage of this. And that brings us some modern day horror stories. So we're going to start with the Rathburns. So Arthur and his wife, Elizabeth. The year is 2013, and the city is Grosse Pointe Park, Michigan. At this point...
Did you say 2013?
2013.
Okay. Just making sure I didn't...
Yeah, so... We're talking
modern. I know.
Very modern. Yes. You're like, my son.
Yes. Yeah.
Slightly older than that. Okay. So anyway, at this point, the Rathburns own this bankrupted company called International Biological Incorporation, which acts as a middleman between larger companies that receive donor-willed bodies and organizations that need body parts for research and education.
Mm-hmm.
So this company and Arthur himself had this like long history of throwing up red flags. Such as originally he worked with the University of Michigan body donation program and lost that job after mishandling ashes in like 1990. So then along the way, he was investigated several times for not being able to produce evidence that the bodies were willingly donated. He got stopped at the Canadian border multiple times while transporting 10 human heads multiple times.
If I had a dime.
Oh, yeah. And so the time that kind of kicked off an investigation, though, he had these heads and the cargo place was like, you got blood everywhere. He's like, oh, no, that's not blood. That's Listerine to preserve the heads. Like, it's just traveling with bloody heads. Yeah. So anyway,
I guess.
So the Alliance to the Border Patrol kicked off the investigation. I wasn't able to find out if like the real kicker was the Border Patrol or if there was like a subsequent investigation because somebody finally realized that International Biological Inc. was shipping them bodies that were infected with hepatitis or HIV.
Oh, nice.
But when they finally raided them, they found thousands of body parts that had been stacked on top of each other without any sort of like separation. They're just making a mountain of heads.
That's how you get flesh golems. If you want flesh golems, that's how you get them.
Yeah, right. And they'd just been dismembered in this warehouse with a chainsaw.
Oh, with a chainsaw?
Yeah. And not only that, but like there's massive paperwork inconsistencies that withhold medical facts about how some of these people died.
Apparently by chainsaw.
they weren't disclosing disease status, and like not to the customers, not to the cargo companies. Like apparently they had been shipping to Delta with like through Delta Cargo without letting them know necessarily what they were shipping or the biohazard because of the bloodborne pathogens. So they get
Jeez.
caught. Their trial is incredibly long. So they finally get sentenced, I think, in 2018. Guess what their charges were? Guess what they got?
Mail
with?
fraud.
Aiding and abetting wire fraud transfers and the illegal transportation of hazardous materials. So Arthur ended up getting 9 years in prison and then like another 3 years of probation. And his good wife, Elizabeth, pled guilty to wire fraud and received 2 years of probation.
Well, you know, they're upstanding citizens. You know, they make they Burke and Hare, is like silly as they are, like they look accomplished by these guys' standards.
It makes you wonder like how many bodies are actually mob hits.
Mob
Like, is that
hits.
just how you grade it?
I'm wondering how many were just people on the street that they're like, hey, come in here for a warm meal and a chainsaw.
I see that. Yeah, no, 100%. So the interesting thing is after International Biological Inc. goes down, the FBI starts investigating their suppliers, right? And so they were getting some of their bodies from this place called Biological Resource Center in Arizona. And it was aptly ran by a man named Stephen Gore.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Because with a name like that, what else were you going to do?
Right. And so he had been, or that company had basically been sending these diseased bodies so that Rathburn could flip them to people who were unsuspecting. Yeah. So they go in, the FBI goes in, and some of the FBI agents actually needed trauma therapy afterwards. They described this place as a human chop shop.
Ugh.
So, I mean, we're just talking like cooler of male genitals, buckets of heads. Somebody had sewn a female head onto a large male torso.
Oh my God, I remember hearing about this.
Yeah, they were taking people who had donated their bodies for, say, like Alzheimer research and selling them to the military as blast dummies. Just a total egregious breach of trust. Yeah, just horrendous breaches of trust and ethics just all down the line. So they got closed down too. Again, it was something really stupid. Okay. So unbelievably, Stephen Gore pled guilty to fraud, not the sale of body parts, but for shipping contaminated specimens. He received probation. So in response to this, Arizona passed a law that required body brokers to be licensed and inspected.
No, that's what you start
This wasn't
with.
a thing. Why did it take that to think, oh, I should license and inspect these facilities? Like, we license and inspect slaughterhouses.
Yeah.
But not human body brokers? Like, that's nuts. That's crazy people stuff.
Yeah, that's like, well, I mean, it's not really an area we've looked into. If you're doing it, good for you.
Yeah.
When they got blasting dummies and they were like, wow, these blasting dummies sure are realistic. They're even starting to rot. I mean, at what point
they know it's human bodies. They do a lot of testing on cadavers for military and car safety too. So crash test dummies were people at first because they needed to test the real factors that are involved in a crash to make things like child safety seats.
I guess I was just hung up on the idea of dummies.
Oh yeah,
that's fair.
Yeah. And then to close out this morbid topic on my side, so Sunset Mesa Funeral Home in Montrose, Colorado. So this is a 2018 case. It was a mortuary run by a mother and daughter team, Megan Hess and Shirley Koch. So Hess, the daughter, she owned 2 businesses. One was a funeral home.
Uh-huh.
The second was a body brokering.
Okay.
So
that seems like it'd be a red flag right there.
It'd be a red flag. But apparently it wasn't, because the set of businesses went on for 8 years. The daughter was kind of the face of both the mortuary services and the body brokering business. And then the mom, Coke, she was using YouTube videos and hardware store tools to dismember the bodies without consent. So they would lure customers in by giving them these just cut rate deals on cremation.
Mm-hmm.
And so, of course, again, it's kind of that predatory practice of preying on people who don't have the means to hold these expensive funerals. And so they would give them back basically a box of random ashes or bits of people that were left over. They'd throw them in the incinerator and, and put them in a box and call it good. So
Jeez.
when the FBI finally went in and started investigating this, there are at least 560 confirmed victims. And the wildest part to me is that it did not flag to anyone that an IRS tax-paying body brokering business had the same address as a funeral home, and no one thought that was weird.
Well, apparently somebody at some point did.
It was just reading the story, and again, this is something contemporary. They were sentenced in 2022 to.
Jeez, I
Yeah,
forgot the timeline.
Proper disposal of a body or something.
Yeah, but it's icky, and you have to look at icky stuff if you're going to go in and regulate it. Apparently,
I understand that.
coolers full of
But then
genitals.
But if it was better regulated, we wouldn't have coolers full of genitals.
Yeah, and then
Yeah,
you don't get
so-
cool things like that, do you, Sarah?
Listen, the witches need
Yeah, that's right. They got to feed them
penis
somehow.
in their pockets.
What?
Sorry, you missed
I
that.
know. So Megan Hess got 20 years in prison.
Mm-hmm.
Of the daughter.
And the mom, good old YouTube Shirley, she got sentenced to 15 years in prison.
In what year was that?
So Megan Hess was sentenced to 20 years in prison, and good old YouTube Shirley was sentenced to 15 years in prison. That sentencing took place in 2023, and they were active from 2010 to 2008.
2018. That is crazy. So
Yeah.
that's 8 years of misappropriating corpses.
Desecrating people's love.
Yeah.
That's
So
nuts.
just the lack of regulation is
Wild.
not much better.
No. Did you know that in the 17th century, the very wealthy would buy mummies
Oh, yeah.
and have mummy unwrapping parties?
And I know what
Yeah.
they did with those mummies.
Yeah. So do I.
Yeah,
So tell us
I can't wait to hear it.
So I don't have a whole lot on the mummy unwrapping parties, but basically what they would do was they'd have some sort of doctor come in and make a whole spectacle of unwrapping said mummy and uncovering artifacts. And mind you, this is like in people's houses. They would
Mhm.
have gatherings and
Bring a mummy over, set it on the kitchen table.
correct.
Anybody with the
Yeah.
sniffles or anything in that party?
Sometimes.
Hmm.
So finding amulets and other valuable things that the person was buried with. And then there was a thing called mummia, I believe is what it was called. And it was the remnants of the mummy's brain
Oh, no.
that they scraped out of the skull. Uh-huh.
I know.
And it was taken to make what was called corpse medicine.
Huh?
Yeah. So when I read corpse medicine, right, I was like, oh, this seems like a gross thing. And then I was like, well, maybe it's not as gross as I think, right? Maybe this isn't as gross as I think, right? Corpse medicine. Because I'm thinking like organ donors, bone marrow, cornea transplants, things like that. And then I actually read what corpse medicine was. It's also referred to as medical cannibalism.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That sounds
there's
Something
there's no other way to put it.
Yeah, something along those lines. So, what is corpse medicine exactly? So, See, I'm not even getting really into the mummy stuff either, but they used to eat the mummia for various ailments. What is corpse medicine? So, quote, the early modern willingness to use the body parts of once living people in pharmaceutical compounds that they both prepare, that are both prepared and often ingested. So, we're going to start with the, and full pun intended here, we're going to start with the easier to swallow forms of this. For example, if, say, you have a corn on your foot. So it was said that you could, quote, rub the place affected with the bone of a dead man. Okay, that one's, I understand you guys don't know how things work. This is very early medicine. Just rub your foot with a bone. You're fine. It'll go away.
You don't know that's not going to work.
That's right. Well, we do now. But listen, that was not terrible,
Do
right?
we?
Suffering from a toothache.
Mm-hmm.
You would take the tooth from a corpse. Doesn't matter. Any old corpse would do, and wear it as a necklace.
Any old random corpse.
And this was supposed to help with the toothache. If you were suffering from hemophilia, which is the inability for your blood to clot, you could apply moss that grew on the skull of a corpse on the wound, and it would help, clot the blood and stop the bleeding. Again, the moss thing makes sense to me.
That is oddly specific, though. Not any moss.
Yeah.
Well, they get real specific. A lot of sources said it had to be the moss from the skull of an Irish person.
Oh, yeah, they make the best moss.
I wonder if there's a crossover between corpse medicine, and witchcraft, not in the sense that witches were doing the corpse medicine, but they're like, oh, witches do spells with things like moss. They're probably medical cannibals.
Mm-hmm.
And got cataracts. They had a cure for that too.
Oh God, what is the cure? I hate eye stuff.
Okay, no, you're okay. So no big deal. Something you can find in any household around the world. You just take some poop
Mm-hmm.
and you dry it.
Oh,
You turn it into a powder, and then you have somebody blow it directly into your eyes.
Yeah,
that sounds like
that's how you get pink eye.
Listen, I'm not a doctor, but I do work in the eye world, and I can tell you with so much confidence that that is just how infection starts. That doesn't cure cataracts. So, yeah. It's funny now. We're moving on. So if ingesting straight human remains sounds off-putting, don't worry, because they had a workaround for that. Often the remains would be mixed with herbs or alcohol and various other things. For example, suffering from hair loss, there was something called liquor of hair. This was somebody's hair that had been cut, turned into powder, and then added to booze.
with it life at least.
Hair of the dog that bit ya.
Wasn't specific.
That's good. Okay.
So the thought behind it was like cures like. So lack of hair, take somebody else's hair and drink it, and it'll fix your ailment. A treatment for epilepsy. Now I need everybody to hold on to something because this is where it starts going downhill.
Oh no.
So treatment for epilepsy was peony root, mistletoe, which by the way, both things very toxic.
Mm-hmm.
Fingernails and skull powder. Yep. And if that is too gross for you to take, you're like, listen, I have epilepsy, I need a cure, but I will not eat fingernails or drink anything that had fingernails in it. Don't worry, because they had another one. It was a simple infusion of lily, lavender, and mumsy in water mixed with a couple pounds of human brains. Why? Because there's something wrong with your brain. So if you ingest somebody else's brain, like cures like.
That makes sense.
That's how you get Creutzfeldt.
That's how you get mad cow disease.
Yeah.
Still not appealing? Still can't wrap your head around eating human remains? That's all right. Because they would take skull powder and mix it into chocolate for the cure of headaches and migraines.
Ew.
Yeah.
I don't know what your face looks like, Larry.
The laughing disease. Are you familiar with this?
What is it?
The laughing disease known as Kuru.
No.
Oh, it's notably caused from eating brains.
Correct. Oh, actually, yes.
Yeah.
So some of the recipes were really specific. And mind you, there are actual recipe books in museums that have recipes to fix random ailments. But some of them were really specific.
Uh-huh.
And I just wanted to bring this home because my sister here is a redhead. So thought she'd appreciate this. One of the recipes, and it actually gave me the entirety of how to do it. I did not put all of that down.
Okay.
It involved soaking flesh in alcohol for X amount of hours, then hanging it to dry for X amount of days. Anyways, but the flesh had to come from, and I quote, the flesh of an unspotted cadaver of a red-headed man who had died a violent death.
Oh, yeah, they make the best.
That's really specific.
The unspotted freckles are saving that guy.
Right.
A really, really rare.
Freckles, blemishes, anything.
Skin of alabaster, dyed by
There is
cudgel.
actually a startling amount of like cannibal medicine from redheads and albinos.
Correct.
There was a recent case. Did you find that one?
No.
There's a recent case of a woman in, I want to say South Africa, but it might have been a different country. She sold her daughter to
You told
witch
me about
doctors.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah, redheads were real valuable. And basically what it comes down to, it was marginalized groups of people that were being preyed on for this quote unquote medicine. That's all it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, it's absolutely true.
So
I
the
think
next
all
time
of
you have
this
to-
is preying on the most vulnerable or like
Absolutely.
least available to defend themselves, the dead.
yeah.
Yeah. So that's another way the black market body brokering feeds into weird.
Well, and the other thing too is like back in the time of the Romans and gladiators and stuff, drinking the blood of a very recently deceased gladiator, like while the blood was still warm, was supposed to enhance like courage and strength and stuff like that. So
You
that's
think
kind
you
of like
wouldn't want to drink the one from the dead guy?
correct. Unless he lost to like a lion.
Yeah,
He
but
beat all the
still he
humans.
lost.
Just got killed by the lion.
I
Anyways.
want to drink the blood of the guy who beat the lion.
Right. But it also caused a problem later on when they were like, hey, hearts are great. Fresher the better. Because if you eat them, I don't remember what they were used for. Probably a lot of gross things. So they would accuse people of things just so they could murder them to steal their hearts.
That tracks.
Yeah.
Hearts are never mind. Let's cut
This
that.
was a very Halloween-y episode.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was a fun
Like-
episode.
Not super occulty, well, yours is, but like the whole body snatching thing and body brokering.
Mine's like the
Yeah.
beginning of medicine.
And yeah, but I mean,
No, yours is at the beginning of quackery.
yeah,
I mean, listen, they used to use leeches too.
actually, I still use leeches because they increase the blood flow to the wound, thereby helping green.
Right, but they use it in not for every ailment.
Well,
Sure.
you know, when
It's
your
not like-
barber is also your surgeon,
Yes.
you know.
Sometimes
What do you
it's
expect?
cocaine.
And in the
Let's just do some
1800s,
cocaine
they were
about it.
just drinking ether. So,
Yeah.
you know, like that's something that is fascinating, and maybe I'll share with you guys at a different time. But the ether drug, we'll do one on that maybe. But that is all we have time for today. Join us next time as we might be interviewing a witch.
One day.
Friendly side note, everybody. Once again, we are doing a drawing for a pack of coffee from our friends at Gruesome Coffee. So if you would like to be entered to win, the drawing ends the 25th of this month. Please be sure to like, comment, interact with us on our Facebook page, and we will enter you into the drawing. We will be drawing the winner on Halloween.
And Sarah, which one ended up being your favorite flavor?
That is a great question. The caramel one.
Yeah, pretty good.
Oh, that's
Yes.
you guys got a winner there. All right.
Oh, it was so good.
They were all really good, but that one was especially good.
And goodbye.
Goodbye.